Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of SuperFantaFi. This being a show, we're talking about TV shows of the supernatural, fantasy, and/or science fictional genre. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about Jentry Chau versus the Underworld, Season 1, Episode 6. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. So they're initially going to this fair thing that's happening just because it's a place for Flora to meet up with her contact, which we already knew who it was, but Jentry didn't. And Gentry's asking a lot of questions about, like, right, all this stuff in the book. I don't see anything about the Yellow Emperor's powers and stuff like that. But Flora's being like, no. Why would your powers be in there? You know, you've had these powers since you were born. The fact of the matter is that, this is a bestiary. Why would your powers be in there? Yada, 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 so on and so forth. But Jentry knows, like, yeah, something's up. Like, Flora was so quick. The moment she gets an opportunity to, she immediately, like, leaps out of the car, like, oh, yeah, parking situation, blah, 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 and takes off. It's like, I'm going to meet with my friend. It's also interesting, too, like, what does that look like from the outside? The fact is, Gugu's, like, the one driving the car, so no one can see her. All you see is, like, Ed and Jentry in the back seat. But I guess if a car is going by quickly enough, you're not going to pick up on, like, what the hell, no one's in the seat, unless you're like, I mean, you're on the highway and stuff, so no one's going to notice that. But I mean, everyone's kind of in their own world, so not many people would pick up on that unless you're beside the car and you're very nosy and just be like, wait, what? Or whatever the case may be. Gentry's in this interesting spot because Ed's trying to, like, hype her up and try to pretend like, yo, let's, like, pretend like you're having so much fun. That way you can kind of get bad at Kit for not, like, for freaking out after the kiss and everything, which sadly Kit's going through it this episode. He wants to confess to Jentry, but Chang is playing mind games, being like, oh no, go ahead and do it. But she'll reject you like everyone else, because we find out that Kit has had multiple lives, like pretending to be a human over many, many a year. It's interesting because, traditionally, I'm saying this traditionally, at least based on the TV show Supernatural, we know that demons used to be humans, but I guess he never was one. If he wants a soul now, must mean he never had one, so he must have never been a human. He's always just played the role of human. So I guess maybe in this universe, demons just came into existence. You are born, but you're born as a demon, and you are not necessarily a situation of you were once human. You were a demon, you've always been a demon type of thing. But he tried to blend in with humans, and over the years, he got close to so many people. But the moment they found out the truth about him, because we saw him as a little boy, he had a friend, and then he ended up siphoning the chi and killing that friend. And we see that process repeated over and over again. It's usually when people find out who he is and rejects him. Now, whether it's just oh my God, I need to shut you up because I can't let people know what I really am, or I can't hide anymore. Or is it a thing of it's him just being so upset, sad, and pissed off, and it's like, I gotta hurt you because you hurt me? I'm gonna lean towards the former, like he's doing it to hide himself type of situation. I mean, you gotta survive. I was about to say, we know that's what he actually feasts on is chi. So he probably does have to, like, feed, just like a vampire has to feed on blood. He's probably in the same boat, but it's probably a thing of, well, we saw he got served rats. His fake family could have easily served him up actual people, but they never did, so that might be his choice, because it's like, well, if people just started disappearing after I, like, sucked up their chi, that's leaving bodies and evidence behind, and it's less inconspicuous, right? So, but it's like, yeah, Chang's like, go ahead and tell Gentry the truth, because she will reject you just like everyone else has. And that fear is there, but he wants to tell Gentry, but sadly Gentry's, like, awkward because of the whole, like, right, you kind of reject me. She's like, what? I've kind of moved on. She's got a new boyfriend. He's like, oh, is it Michael? She's like, no, it's not. It's like, oh, and Ed trying to be her hype man, being like, yo, he's in a K-pop group and he's super talented, and their wedding vows and stuff like that. Gentry's like, shut up. Why'd you have to go that far? He's like, because you're not going far enough. After, we have to make him feel bad about kind of rejecting you, right? You gotta give credit to Ed, yo. Ed is very ride or die, and he's got Gentry's back. We've seen that time and time again, so. Also, still didn't get an answer about that Guai from last episode. If she's still just kicking it into school. Like I said last episode, I'd love it if we found out she actually got hired as a music teacher at the school. It's like, oh, she's super quiet, but she's super gifted at what she does. I'd love that, but we never got answers to it. I mean, she was never dealt with, but I don't know, maybe spending time with Ed allowed her to move on, or maybe, who knows? Once again, we don't fully know the supernatural mystical rules in this universe. I mean, maybe if you were a little more more familiar with Chinese mythology, then maybe it'll be like I mean, I'm sure those questions are there in Chinese mythology, but like I'm not well versed. I probably out in a lot of Asian mythology. It's probably the one I know the least amount about. I'd say, and it's not like I know a lot about Japanese or Korean mythology, but at least I know a tiny bit more about Japanese mythology just because of anime and video games I play. But anyway, going on the tangent. But kind of back to the whole struggling thing between him and Michael, because Michael's also going through it too, because he's on the dunk tank, and lo and behold, Stella wants some answers. She's like, oh, what was the whole thing about giving up on football? But oh, here you are. Oh, you're still going to UT, huh? He's like, well, kind of let me explain. For her, it's like, so what was all that about this and that? It's like, was it really your future you're questioning about, or was it really me? And then he falls into the tank, and then he sees Gentry walk by. Because like the moment they were heading to the place, I was like, oh, is this what his vision showed? It's interesting. So his visions haven't gone that far into the future. It's like this is potentially like the next day or two after last episode. So that's kind of really interesting. So, or maybe it's been like a couple days, whatever the case may be. His visions didn't go that far in the future, because that vision was Gentry, and the vision with Stella, which means the vision where he saw Chang coming out of the field can't be too far in the future. So, but he tells, like, and obviously I figured there was going to be a miscommunication where she probably eventually pick up cues of like, oh, was it because of Gentry? It's Gentry you want tonight? And he's like, no. He's like, I've just had like a dream about like this moment being in a tank and Gentry, and then you were getting hurt. She's like, well, I guess you can see the future, because yeah, you did hurt me, but we see how that plays out later on. Like I said, I just wasn't expecting a lot of this to like hit so soon. Just like the Kit stuff, I thought we pull that out a little bit. I mean, it's still going to play out over the course of the season, the aftermath of this episode, but I thought like Kit like still not telling her the truth was going to be stretched out further, and then but like they got to it immediately in the next episode. And I knew it was only a matter of time, but we see that Gentry somewhat stumbles upon the truth about Flora, because Flora meets with the woman, which Gentry's like, whoa, that's the woman from my visions, the one that was trying to kill my parents. And it's like, right, if not, it's like, but Chang was the one that's supposed to be sending those to you, right, through the Shin Pearl. But it's like, no, Gugu's the one that's been lying. Because that's the interesting thing. It's like, there is obviously a long-standing beef, because it was to the point that Gentry's parents had to be like, we promise we won't tell Flora anything. It's like, well, I can't take any chance. And she tried to kill them. So there's that element to it. But now it's like you're willing to, like, I mean, I guess you can't really, I guess you don't have to worry about it too much, because Flora's a ghost now, so it's kind of like fine. But I'm like, yeah, you're just laughing it up, even though you seem to be, I guess they have like a very like frenemy relationship. Sometimes we work together, but other times we're opposite. We don't know what that dynamic is, but I guess it's because Flora is a ghost, she doesn't have to worry about it so much. But Gentry chases after her to try and get answers, and obviously she says like, right, I didn't kill your parents, I don't like that power of yours is so dangerous. Like, you don't know what it's all about. Because Gentry's trying to get answers about it, but she never got a full straight answer. All she got was like, well, talk to Google about it. It's like, I can't. She'll lie to me about it. You're the only one that will tell me the truth. Because they say her name in the subtitles. I don't think they actually ever say it in the episode, but I think her name's like, it's something Tang, if I'm not mistaken. But I believe it's Tang. But she like kind of antagonizes Gentry by being like, oh, you're just another Chau that is way over their head. And as we saw from that those visions, it's like, yeah, both of Gentry's parents were kind of out of their depths. But either way, her power, like trying to defend herself, everything pops off, and she has the power to kind of animate stuff and bring it to life. It seems like when she animates it, it kind of has a free will of its own, but I guess also like she can control it to some extent, like she did the bumper cars, that dragon, the mechanical bull is what ended up attacking Stella, which luckily Michael saved her. I thought it was interesting too, because he came across that, the subtitle called it a Zoltar machine. I don't think I ever knew that those had like a an official name, but maybe they do. Either way, which was a creepy situation. It's like, all right, with these things I see, can I change them? And it's like, you could choose to not do anything, but that would be your answer to it. And then he notices that the machine is out of order and is unplugged. I was like, ooh, that's super creepy. I mean, the eyes of the machine happen to be the same magenta color as his eyes, as well as like the orb was the same color. So you're like, right, I don't know. I mean, this might have something to do with his ancestry that, once again, he probably had to talk to his parents about. I talked about it last episode too. Like, it was like the person you probably could talk to about it is maybe Jentry, but you're in such a weird place. I thought he'd end up talking to Gugu about it. But then I was so stupid because I forgot, like, right, Gugu's a ghost right now. And it doesn't seem like Michael can see it because he doesn't have psychic powers in that capacity. I mean, maybe given enough time, gets better control of his powers, maybe he'll be able to see spirits. Or it could just be like no, I can see the future and that's it. Once again, we've only scratched the surface of what Jentry can do because she's only using her powers to summon the fire. But who knows what else she can fully do. My point was like, yeah, I don't think Michael wouldn't have been able to get advice necessarily from. He still could have. He would just have to have Jentry or Ed be, the mediator in that particular regard. But because of the fight with Tang, like, her weapon ends up getting destroyed, and it brings the giant Tex wood thing to life. And yeah, it's kind of basically like a giant Woody on the loose. And it's up to Jentry to try and stop it, but the thing burned down before, so it's fireproof on the outside, but not so much on the inside. So working with Michael, Stella, Ed, and Kit, were able to kind of help her. Like, Ed bust open like a softer, an open wood spot, and the others helped kind of use the tents to give her leverage to jump up. But at the same time, Kit's trying to help her. Gugu's just, all Gugu heard was like, oh my God, you work for Chang, even though Kit was trying to warn her and tell her, like, yo, this is what's going on. But for Jentry, it's like, you've lied to me. You've said that you know nothing about this, but you're making a deal and working with the woman who tried to kill my parents. You try to lie and say that they were just telemarketers, that they knew nothing about this world, but they stole dragon skins. They tried to make it. They were black market dealers, and they also try to make a deal with Mr. Chang. It's like, you are the one who continuously lied to me. And Gugu didn't have any response. Can't, because you're caught. Like, because you could have told her the truth, and even Chang warned you, like, the episode before last, like, I will use this to my advantage and push her further away from you, because Gugu was so certain, like, right, she'll never pull away from me. She'll never not trust me. It's like, yeah, she will, because you just thought the truth would never come out for whatever reason. Either way, she gets inside and uses all her feelings towards her great aunt right now. It's like all that anger, and she channeling. I mean, without really going into it, like, she has learned better control of her powers, but I guess it could just be like she was focused and she needed more control. Like, whether she could always pull that up, we'll have to wait to see. But it's like each incident has been like, right, going up against Tang, it's like I'm so focused on you right now that, like, I'm able to control my powers to the extent I'm burning down this wood thing because I have to stop it. But luckily, Kit went inside of it and got her out. But in the process, his skin started melting away, and he reveals himself. He could have easily ran away from her, but he chose to turn around and it's like, this is who I am. He brings up the whole Chang thing. He's like, right, Chang promised me a soul. He's like, I'm not human, but I could be, but like, Chang promised me a soul, but I don't need one because you told me I already have one. And just like his greatest fear, and just like Chang kind of dangled in his face, Jentry rejects him. It's like, get away from me, because it's like everything. I mean, I think it's like one thing, because the thing is, she's tight with Ed. Ed's not human, but the problem is, like, Ed's always presented himself a certain way. Now she's finding out, not only are you a demon, you're also, like, you're connected to Chang. So it's like, and she looked into it. It's like, right, he could steal chi, but she also read the book. It's like, they can be deceitful and try to absorb chi and stuff like that. And it's like, it's sad because it's like, he's had multiple opportunities to do it. Like, even kissed you, because it like even says in the book, like, they'll seduce you. It's like, yeah, but he pulled away. But she, she's feeling everything all at once. Like, she's had to deal with two major liars in her life. Kit, the guy she was falling for, and her own great aunt, and the only other family she's got that we're really aware of. So it's like, that's clouding a lot of her judgment. And once again, we're a little sympathetic to Kit because we've gotten his perspective on things. Jentry hasn't talked to him and most likely won't. And like I said, I figured the story was going to get to this point. Once again, I just wasn't expecting us literally to get into it next episode. I thought they stringed that on a little bit more, but it still could get strung along. Just now with everything, the story being where it is, where do we go from here in like essentially the back half of the season? But like this is just going to push and pull Kit like more and more towards Chang, because it's like, well, the person, like, it just, history keeps repeating himself to the point that it's like, what's the point? Until I become human, until I get a soul, I'll never be able to just have some life. I won't have anyone in my life. And maybe, because it's like, it's not like he can have both. He can't get his human soul and have Jentry in his life, because he needs to sacrifice Jentry to get his soul. But it's also like, you can't trust Mr. Chang. He's not going to keep up his end of the deal. But when everyone's blinded by hurt right now, it's hard to see past that. And that's the thing, like, Kit made a mistake. He kind of lied. He's hurt right now. And what you're going to end up doing, you're probably going to lash out or, like, turn more inwards because of all this, which all those elements and aspects are very human. You're a lot more human that you've let on, You might be a demon, and you might not be like human, but you share a lot of traits with humans that you just quite haven't realized yet, because you fall short on the human nature side of things on every other aspect, that you don't see this part of you that is very human-like. So we'll see where things kind of go from there. But obviously, Gugu tries to make things up to Jentry, and she's trying to spin everything to say, like, right, I sent you away when you were young to Seoul to try and protect you. And even upon you coming back here, all I've ever done is try to protect you, because I still see you as that little girl that needs her great aunt to protect her. But it's like, no, you want to know the truth? I'll tell you the truth. So I don't know if she uses the thing that she got from Tang, and it's like, we're going to go see your parents. You're going to learn the truth. Now, there's a lot to this, which is interesting, that we have to keep in mind. There was that photograph situation where Flora was up to something. She's like, right, we'll have to do this. Whatever it is, it'll have to be perfect. There's that. 2, they initially went to go meet up with her quote-unquote contact, because she's saying, like, right, this will help us close the portal. And that was all BS so she could meet up with her, because this is all about Jentry, because Gentry's the only one strong enough who can, and also kill Chang in the process. So I'm still not quite sure. I'm like, I don't think Flora's as honest even in this moment. I don't know. I still feel like, because she promised no lies before, and it's like, she still lied to you. So who's to say she's going to be 100% honest? So part of me, and I brought this up in that episode. I think it was like at the end of episode 3. I was like, is she going to do the Pearl thing, but she's going to create a false memory? The thing she claimed Chang was doing, is she actually going to do it now to try and create a certain narrative? And I'm wondering, is that what this whole thing was? The thing that she got from Chang? Because it's like, what was the purpose of getting that from her? Like, she's only doing the whole, like, oh, we'll go see your parents now because she got busted. So it's like, what does that mean? What were you originally going to plan on using that for? So that's why I'm like, there's still inconsistencies, and I'm like, we'll have to wait to see and get more clarity in the next episode. But I'm like, what were you originally planning? And is this still part of your original plan? You're just making Jentry think, oh, I'm shifting things over and I'm going to tell you the truth. I don't know. I just don't know what to make of it. But I'm kind of soured on Flora too, because I brought it up previously. I was like, I hope she doesn't go down the really bad route of, I'm going to do some bad stuff just for the greater good. It's for Gentry's sake. Because once again, the whole point was, oh, we need to make Jentry realize her true potential, yada, yada, yada. She had talked to what's her face about that at the end of episode 3 as well. So I'm like, I don't know what to fully make of all of this. I'm not saying Gugu's a bad person, but I think it's just going to be a thing of, she's like any human. She's flawed, and she's going to make mistakes thinking like she's doing what's best for everyone, and as Jentry has brought up, has been the situation. I think she even brought it up in episode 3, where it's like, no, she was talking about it last episode, or it was either episode 5 or episode 4, the whole thing about the truth is, it was episode 4 where she was like, right, the truth is important. That's what kind of matters the most, or something like that. So, well, like I said, we'll ultimately have to wait to see where the next episode takes us going forward with all of this. But really, that's all I wanted to talk about. So the next time we meet, be happy, Be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.